Yo! Welcome to Godlike Gaming. Let's dominate. With the new steel fleet around the corner, I was wondering what to pick. So I made this video in hope that it could be a guideline for you to make your choices wisely. The way I do it is rather different. Instead of picking what I feel is the best, I eliminate the options I think are not worthy. This year we have 6 ships to pick from. Havre, Bermen, Aki, I-56, Valpraiso, Havre. So, let's start by removing the ships which are probably don't really earn their place in the category of this year's steel fleet. I start with the obvious one, Japanese submarine I-56. It has 6 torpedo tubes with 15 kilometers range and 45 seconds reload time. But you can only shoot from the bow, so dancing in water to be unpredictable, forget about it. Also, it has a very rapid fire cannon, which has 10 kilometers range and reload booster, same as you probably saw lots of times with French ships, but one cannon. We're talking about one cannon. Does anyone really consider using it unless it's their final attempt to cause some damage before they sink? Oh, and the sonar range is 8.5 kilometers. Basically, you either never get the chance to ping your enemies, or if you do, it's already too late for you. Mainly because your dive capacity is only 90 units. Compare it with ordinary submarines such as U-45. Which has a dive capacity of 260 units, you can see how limited you can run undetected. Especially when your speed reduces to 15 knots while you're submerged and only 13 knots while on the surface. And on top of that, the fact that you can't really take it to any other game modes, such as ranked or brawls or clan battles. You only get this ship if you love collecting submarines or you have extra steel to burn, but if you're under normal circumstances such as I am, then no, definitely skip this one. Next one is the tier 9 French cruiser Le Havre. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. So every ship that exists in the steel fleet has something to twist about their class. Some features which makes them outstanding, different, fresh, something that makes you excited to try them out or dramatically changes your gameplay with that specific ship. But this feels like a scam. It shouldn't exist in the list of steel fleet. It certainly doesn't earn its place. Yeah, sure, it has speed boost, outstanding armor for Citadel, Battleship tier main guns, but wait a second, every other French cruiser has such beefy main guns. Also, apparently as they advertise it, it has outstanding second battery system, but just look at the positions of them, all at the back of the ship. Like, are you supposed to go into the battle backwards? I mean, let's be serious, you can unlock the same features just by progressing through the tech line, and it's for free. I mean, I can see how you can be persuaded to purchase this ship. You think like, oh, I'm in a fast moving ship with battleship tier type of guns and I can flank and catch them off guard and do citadel damage with every single salvo. If that's the case, flash news, people can see your name before the match even begins and position themselves to counter you. So yeah, only get this ship if you feel lazy to actually grind the tech line. Next one is Aki, the tier 10 Japanese battleship. Think of it as the evil brother of Yamato. I mean, it's identical to a Yamato, which instead of the third main gun, you have access to bomber crew, which if you have any experience with Japanese airplanes, You already know that it's really hard to land any shots using Japanese crew anyways, so the chances of you dealing damage with those bomber crew is really low unless you really practice with it. However, do not let this being so difficult to play with discourage you from purchasing this ship, because on paper it's a fire starter. With your main battery and your bomber crew, you can do major damage just by burning the enemy. And on top of that, there is something that I haven't tried myself, but theoretically it may work, because just look at the massive amount of secondary battery guns this ship has. If we can treat it something like a close quarter ship, it may work. And to be honest, I actually tried it with Kearsarge, which is also a battleship which carries aircrafts on it, and I did the secondary build on it and it was such a success. So I assume it may work the same way with this one as well. Now we're left with 3 ships in our list, and in my opinion it's the main debate and the actual reason why the Steel Fleet this year looks special. I like to start with the most obvious one, Valpraiso, the dreadful Pan-American battleship which everybody were dreaming of because of the stats, and I'm going to compare it directly to the tier 9 take line ship Los Andes. These ships are famous for their secondary battery firepower, so I focus on that part only. Valpraiso has 8 guns on each side with the reload time of 2.9 seconds. And for the sake of this comparison to work, we assume you own the legendary commander as well. So you get 10% reload reduction by the captain perk itself and another 20% by the equipment you purchase for the ship. And the captain's unique ability, which reduces the secondary battery reload time by 22.5% after landing 170 shots. So the final result on Valpraiso is 1.6 seconds reload speed for those 8 guns she has. On the other hand, we have Los Andes, which has 2 sets of secondary, which one of them is identical to Valpraiso, and another one with slightly higher caliber and slower reload time naturally. But to make things very simple for the purpose of this comparison, I sum the reload time on Los Andes secondary guns and divide them as if they were one of a kind, which gives me the final result of 7.1 seconds. As you probably already realized, there is a huge gap between the two, with Valpraiso having 1.6 seconds of reload time and Los Andes have 7.1. And obviously you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that Valpraiso is like way faster in terms of reload. However, don't let the numbers alone deceive you, because Los Andes has 3 times more guns than Valpraiso has. So to make it seem more fair, I take that 1.6 and times it by 3, which equals to 4.8. Now this is the real number you want to directly compare it, right? It is still faster, but there is also another major factor you need to keep in mind, that these numbers only applies if you're fully broadside toward your target, which you usually don't want to be in that position really, because of the citadel hits. So if I wanted to make it more simple, Los Andes can cover more angles and shoot more often than Valpraiso and cause fire more frequently. But here is the major game changer. Valpraiso has access to the super heal, which Los Andes doesn't. And super heal technically rebuilds your ship mid-action from the scratch. With the catch, of course. And the catch is, if you get hit while you're repairing, you lose the repair progress. Meaning, the amount of HP that was supposed to be restored will reduce. But if you can manage to get out of an active fight before hitting the repair button, then yes, it's going to be OP. So in my opinion, only pick this ship if you already have the legendary commander sitting in your arsenal, otherwise skip. Now is the time for Bermen, the German cruiser, which you probably already heard the rumors of it being a major DPS and is going to rule the seas. But after digging into more details for the sake of making this video, I just realized this ship is technically a Schlieffen without the main guns. Yes, everything is identical to a Schlieffen. Literally, just open the detail tab for Schlieffen and remove the main guns and tada! You have Bermen. Both have 1650mm guns, 2 sets of torpedo on each side and 20 smaller caliber secondary guns, and both of them are at tier 10. I mean, I get it, the stats are OP for a cruiser on the paper, but who said you are guaranteed to face only cruisers in a match? You definitely get matched against battleships and destroyers, and the main reason why I didn't get impressed by this ship is because it feels like a lazy attempt to make a knockoff of a ship which you can have for free and is more powerful. And the final ship I'm going to discuss is Havre. Well, there is not much to dig into. Think of it as a destroyer hunter. Whenever there is a destroyer within its radar radius, which is 8.5 kilometers, which by the way is identical radar as the one that Salem has, it only takes 5 to 10 seconds to remove that destroyer from the match, no questions asked, unless you intentionally try to miss your shots. Which if you do, it feels like God smiles upon that poor soul of the destroyer. Honestly, it's a decent ship, but it heavily relies on its teammates to spot for it, because it's more fragile than a Salem, so you can't really tank much under constant fire. Also, it doesn't have access to the super heal as Salem does, so yeah, no twist, no catch, pretty straightforward. Nothing special except very fast rate of fire. From the target's perspective, it feels like you're under the reign of misery and pain. And lots of fire. Alright, that's for today's video. Don't forget to sub, and God is out!